Okay, if you manage digital assets today, you already know the absolute headache of getting your content exactly where it needs to go. Honestly, sometimes it feels a bit like herding cats in the dark, right? Well, today we're unpacking a platform that's tackling this exact problem head on. OmniCon by Receipt Roller Inc. This is really stepping up as the ultimate platform for modern content distribution, and in today's explainer, we're going to break down its entire architecture, going from the macro level organization all the way down to the individual atomic units of content. But before we get into the weeds, I want to pose a pretty critical question. How are you planning to serve your content not just to web browsers, but to AI agents? Because let's be real, this is the modern pain point. For the last 20 years or so, we've built content management systems that were entirely designed to push text and images to a human reading a screen. But the landscape has radically shifted. Now we're dealing with siloed data and this massive hurdle of AI integration. Think about it. If an AI agent can't easily read, retrieve, and understand your content database, your architecture is already falling behind. So keep that question in the back of your mind as we go through things today. So what is OmniCon.cloud? By definition, it's a fully headless CMS with what we can basically call the rule of three outputs. It literally has three front doors. First, you've got your traditional website. Second, a REST API, which is awesome because it instantly future-proofs your tech stack by letting you push data anywhere. And third, and this is the real game changer here, an MCP server built specifically for AI agents. This means your data doesn't just sit in a database waiting for a human to search for it. Instead, it's actively formatted and totally ready to be queried by artificial intelligence right out of the box. Here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the three front doors, explore the channels universe, zoom in on articles as the atomic unit, look at structuring content, and finally wrap up with the editor and AI tools. All right, let's start right at the top with section 1, the three front doors. So every single piece of content you put into OmniCon is built from the ground up to be served simultaneously to these three destinations, which is huge. You don't have to write a blog post for your website and then figure out a completely separate database for your app's API and then somehow build a custom integration for an AI tool. No way. OmniCon handles the whole shebang. You have your website for the public pages, you have your REST API for headless data delivery, meaning you can instantly push that exact same content to mobile apps, smartwatches, or custom dashboards, and finally, that MCP server gives direct, structured access for AI agents to retrieve your organization's knowledge seamlessly. Moving one level deeper, let's look at section 2, channels. Think of this as your organizational universe. Take a look at the actual backend interface here, and you can see exactly how these channels are organized. We're looking at ActionBridge help content and ActionBridge legal content. Notice how they're categorized by language or culture. You've got EN for English, FR for French, JA for Japanese. You can easily see the tags applied to them and the exact number of articles living inside each channel. But here's the really cool part. Look over at the right side of the screen. OmniCon features this built-in API reference payload. The second you create or view a channel, the system instantly generates the exact JSON request body that you or an AI would need to call that data via the Headless API or MCP. It is unbelievably efficient. Just to make absolutely sure we have our vocabulary straight, let's quickly juxtapose these two core concepts. A channel is your macro container. It's the core organizational table that houses a specific domain of content. An article, on the other hand, is the micro container. It's the individual piece of content, like a news post, a blog entry, or a help page that actually lives within that table. Basically, think of the channel as a massive metal filing cabinet, and the article is the individual, highly detailed piece of paper tucked perfectly inside it. Which brings us perfectly to section 3, articles, the atomic unit. Let's zoom in on that piece of paper. Okay, rapid fire, here are the 4 absolute rules for what constitutes an article in the OmniCon database. Number 1, an article belongs to exactly one channel. You can't just share it across multiple tables. If you want it somewhere else, you have to physically move it by copying it. Number 2, it has a unique permalink, which is just the URL slug that makes it reachable on the web. Number 3, it's assigned a culture, which is its specific language code. And number 4, it's controlled by a publish window, a specific date range that dictates exactly when it's visible to the public. Boom, simple, right? And putting those atomic units into practice looks exactly like this. Inside the ActionBridge Help Content channel, you can clearly see the titles, like Project Documents Wikis Overview or Task Statuses and Workflows. And just below each title, you've got all the rich data attached to them, the tag chips, the publish dates, the specific permalinks. And over on the right, once again, there's that instant API documentation ready to query that specific article. It is highly structured, which, if you remember our earlier point, is exactly why it plays so incredibly nicely with AI agents. Now that we have all of these atomic units floating around, how do we actually sort and find them? That brings us to Section 4, Structuring Content. OmniCon actually gives you two complementary methods to maximize how discoverable your content is: tags and folders. The crucial thing here is understanding the difference between the two. Tags are flat. There's just a simple, comma-separated list of keywords attached to the article, which is great for filtering down a massive list. Folders, on the other hand, represent a single hierarchical path, like docs/getting started. And here is the real beauty of the system. You don't have to choose one or the other. You have complete flexibility to use both simultaneously, ensuring that readers and APIs can find exactly what they're looking for, no matter how they search. Actually, speaking of finding things, I want to highlight this very specific, kind of surprising technical detail from the platform's documentation. OmniCon uses Azure Search to index articles, and there's this simple little searchable toggle on every single article. Now, if you turn it off, it hides the article from the public search box and pulls it completely out of those tag and folder facets we just talked about. However, the article is still live and accessible if someone has the direct permalink. It's the exact equivalent of an unlisted YouTube video. It is absolutely perfect for private beta documents or hidden landing pages. They treat discoverability and accessibility as two fundamentally different things, which is super smart. Finally, let's descend down to the most granular level of the whole architecture. In Section 5, the editor and AI tools. This is the actual creation engine. When you get inside the OmniCon article editor, you can see exactly how a complete piece of content is built. Just take a look at the layout here. Over on the left, you've got your human-readable path field, which is what groups it into those folders. Just below that is your standard rich text content editor, but look over at the right sidebar. You have the URL-friendly permaname field, and right above it, native AI tools baked directly into your workflow. There's an AI writer module that actually uses the path, title, and tags as context, and a dedicated SEO enhancement tool right below it. Let's quickly break down the life cycle of creating an article using this interface. Step 1, you write your content. But OmniCon takes it a step further. You can automatically generate AI narration using 11 Labs V3 audio tags, literally giving your article a voice instantly. Step 2, you use those built-in AI tools on the right to read your editor content and auto-generate SEO-optimized metadata, hitting your titles, descriptions, and top keywords. Step 3, you lock in your control by setting the publish since and publish until windows. I mean, you could write a holiday promo page in October, set it to publish automatically on December 1st, and have it securely archive itself on December 26th while you're comfortably sitting at home enjoying the holidays. It's brilliant. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. I really want you to look closely at the systems you're currently using. Is your current CMS architecture truly ready to serve the AI age? OmniCon is showing us that simply having a website just isn't enough anymore. By forcing content to be structured cleanly into channels and articles, and by designing the system from day one to have web, API, and MCP front doors, they're solving the data silo problem before it even starts. It's a really fascinating look at where content management is inevitably heading. I hope this breakdown gave you a clear, structured understanding of how modern content architecture works. Keep learning, stay focused, and we'll see you in the next explainer.